but the elite league since then, I thought that it grew a lot. And now you look at some of the players they're playing there, and a lot of the players are asking me about the league right now. In the past, they weren't asking me about the league, but now they've been like, they want to go there. Like it's part of where they want to play, compared to before. It was Switzerland, it was Germany. Now when you ask them, it goes, oh yeah, Switzerland, Germany, UK. So you're kind of surprised that some of the good players now they're looking at that option.
So it's just when you see some of the, like the other year when we had Chris Stewart come in, that really sent like shockwaves like everywhere. It's like, oh my God, this is actually a genuine place where people want to come now. And when you've got kids going through, obviously you're coaching in the QMJHL now. Do you have kids asking about the Elite League when they're coming through there?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say when they're younger, but after like Major Junior here, the CHL, where I coach, is from 16 to 20 years old. So after their overage year, when they're done junior, a lot of the players, some of them, maybe they don't have the potential to make it to the NHL, but they want to keep playing. So a lot of them, they ask me, you know, good countries or good place where they can play in Europe. And every time that they ask me that, I try to help them out. And I still keep in contact with some of the GM or coach in the elite league to help these players out. So, you know, and it's a good league, and I'm not scared to sell it, because I really respect that league. And I think that these players, if they have an opportunity to go play in Europe, it's a good league to start or to go play.
And when you were back playing, when did the Elite League first come onto your radar?
It was, to be honest with you, I knew about the league in about 2006, 2007, but I wasn't ready to cross the ocean to go play in Europe. I still have the belief that I could still make it to the NHL. I had some American Hockey League experience, and I signed some deal with Detroit and Colorado, so I always thought that I was going to make it. But at one point in 2008, 2009, if I'm not mistaken, or 2009, 2008, 2009,
yep.
When Corey called me, because we played together in the East Coast in Louisiana, he called me and asked me if I wanted to go. And where I was at that point in my career, I thought it was the right timing for me and my family. And we decided to take the offer and try it. And that's probably one regret that I have in hockey, is I should have went before. I should have went a couple years before, because at the end, when you're playing and you're 28, 29, and you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel, you know what, instead of staying in the East Coast, maybe I should have went there. And but you're always trying to keep that dream alive.
And when you come over to the Elite League, you're Corey's player assistant coach. Was that always in the discussions with him? Because you'd done that previously in Fort Wayne.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was in the discussion for sure. This is something that obviously I knew that after my hockey career as a player was going to be over, that I was going to start coaching. And I wanted to start getting involved and being part of trying to find solution and recruiting and things like that to get some experience. And me and Corey, we had good chemistry. We were a different type of player, the way we played. And so we had two different visions. So we worked well together. So when he asked me to come, that was one of the reasons too I went. It's not the main reason, but to be that player assistant coach, it was one of the reasons.
Now, Corey is, from all accounts, a very interesting character, especially with his sense of humor and things like that. What do you remember about your first interactions with Corey?
Is it the nice to meet me?
That's the one.
You know what? Me and Corey, we always had good chemistry. We're both family guys. We had two kids, same age. So, you know, Corey is confident about himself, and that's why he's been having success. And it's okay, because it's done well. It's done a little bit in the funny way, but he really believes it, and that's why he's having success. You know what? He's confident about himself, and he knows that he's able to have success in what he does. And I think you look at him, he had success as a player, as a player coach, and now as a coach in Germany. So it's tough to say something bad when a guy has success like that. But Corey is a good friend of mine, and he's been a good friend, and we still keep in touch.
And you mentioned that you and him were two different kinds of players. You were always a blood and thunder, heart and soul kind of player. Was that how you've always played the game?
Always. When I was junior, I was able to produce offensively. I was always able to produce, even in the elite league, at a point a game or more. But when I came out of junior and I was going up to the American Hockey League or to NHL camp, I wasn't just good enough to be that top player. So I needed to change my game a bit. I needed to bring something else to my game to be able to stay there. I needed to be better defensively, because the guys that were there to be offensively, they had way more talent than me. So I found a way to stay there. So I changed my game a bit, became more feisty. I always had that feistiness, but I played more defensively, blocking shot, winning face-off, and taking pride in making sure that I was there on the PK and things like that. So I had to change it, because just the way I played with my talent, it wasn't just enough. At the next level, the guys are all talented. They all work hard. They all compete. They all have something. So to be able to stay there, you need to bring something else. And, I couldn't be a first liner. So I said to myself, I want to be there. So I'm going to find a way to be on one of the four lines.
And the cool thing about the role that you play is that role really endears you to the fan base of the team you play for, doesn't it? Like, you become almost like a cult hero for that team for the length of time that you're there, because people in Nottingham still talk about Bruce Richardson to this day.
Well, it's fun, and I keep in touch with some people there. I have a lot of friends in Nottingham. It was a really nice place. My son went to school there for 2 years, so it's fun to hear that the people hasn't forgotten me. But you know what? It's just, I think the people, they like that. They like a player that comes to the rink and plays his heart out, plays with passion, plays with emotion. They like seeing nice goals, but they like seeing guys doing everything they can to help their team win, is blocking shot or going to the net or getting the crowd going, because obviously they like when there's a fight, and I like to do that once in a while. So I think the fans, they identify themselves to that kind of player, and it's the same thing here. You look at the Montreal Canadiens, one of the favorite player for the Montreal Canadiens is Brendan Gallagher. You know what I mean? Like, and everybody likes him because he comes to work every day. He's passionate and he does his job. There's no shortcut in his game, and I try to pride myself with that as a player, but also as a coach now.
And you say that everyone likes him. Everyone likes him who supports that team. If you don't support that team, Brendan Gallagher is the worst. He's the worst human being on the planet.
Yeah. Well, a lot of you know what? When I played, I remember playing in Hershey, and we had that guy. We played against the Penguin, Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguin, the American Hockey League, and they had that player, Dennis Bonvie. He was a tough guy, and we always got I was really a pest out there, and we got into some battles. And when he came and signed with Hershey, and he shook my hand, he says, "Oh, I'm so happy to be on your team now. I hated you when we played against each other, but now I'm happy." So it was a love and hate relationship. And you know what? You got to do a job, and you got to do it right. And you have a role, and sometimes it was part of my role to be sorry the word, but a shit disturber sometime on the ice.
Bergin mentioned that when I spoke to him, because obviously he went from playing for the Panthers to coaching with Ryan Finnerty, who is a guy you had many battles with at the opening face-off of many games.
I'll remember that so much, because I remember the first time I got to Nottingham, there was a big rivalry between Sheffield and Nottingham, and Ryan was there for about a couple of years. He's been playing there, and everybody was telling me, "Oh, this guy is a pest," and this guy. And I said, "I'll take care of him the first face-off of the game." I was so excited the first time we played them, because everybody in the dressing room had enough of him. He was just same type of player as me, in your face type of player, never stop, would yapped on the ice, and everybody hated him, but everybody wanted him on his team. So, and I knew that the fans didn't really like him when he came and played in Nottingham. So I said, you know what? First time, I don't know the fans. They don't know me. Good impression. First impression is important. You know, first face off. I told Corey, if Finnerty's on the ice, I'm on the ice to start the face off. I don't even care if you put somebody else. I'm going on the ice. So during the warm up, I went by Finnerty and I said, "Tell your coach to put you on that first shift." And you know what? We went at it, and we have so much respect for each other. We battled hard when we were on the ice and off the ice. We're friends right now, and this is one of the guys I still keep in touch with to help players out to get to the elite league.
And you can tell that. Well, I think we put the first time you played Sheffield on YouTube recently, and it was that game. And after, you can see you and Ryan patting each other on the back, because that's the respect from two guys who do, as you said, play the pretty much. He was their version of you, and you were our version of him.
Well, it's like I said, it's part of hockey. The people they like that. Obviously, they pay to come and see a good game, but they like that toughness. They like that grit, and it puts a lot of emotion into the game, and it pumps up the rivalry. And you know what? There was him, and after that there was Jason Hewitt, also that we had some battles. So it's part of hockey, and we did it, and there's no hard feeling between each other.
And there's one fight that Kevin Bergin told me about. He had a big smile on my face when he told me about it. It was you and Danny Stewart in Coventry.
Oh shit, I remember that one. we were playing there, and I think we were losing, or I don't remember the score, but Kevin got into a fight, if I'm not mistaken, it was against Lewis. And then after that, I tapped him. I said, "I'm going right away too. We're gonna have a chat in the penalty box." And this game was on TV. I think it was on Sky Sport or something like that. Got into a fight and threw a couple punch and hit him right on the nose, and he bent his knee. So at the end, I stopped the fight. Got a couple lucky punch in there, and he bent his knee, and we stopped the fight. And it was just some good old-time hockey, some good memories.
When you got to Nottingham that first time, what did you, because obviously Corey will have sold you on the arena and the city and things. What did you make of the arena and the city? And
this team could be an American Hockey League in a heartbeat. This team could probably play in the KHL if they would want to. You know, the fan base is great. I was really impressed by the arena, by also by the minor hockey association there. You know, the kids, I couldn't believe too the first time I saw public skating, how many people that were on the ice. And I thought just where the arena was, downtown Nottingham, it was great. It was fun coming to work. We had a great setup. And there's some of the rink in that league that you get to the rink and you're like, oh my God, that's going to be a tough night. You're having a hard time getting dressed because it's so small, the dressing room. But when you come to Nottingham, you feel like you're playing professional hockey. You know what I mean? So I was really impressed, really happy. I really loved my time there, and the building was awesome. It was fun when we had that 9,000 people, the Final Four weekend, just some good memories. And you know what? I went back when Corey had his testimonial game, and again, it was awesome. This rink is beautiful.
And that's one of the challenges about the Elite League, is once you play in a place like Nottingham, but then you have to go to that blue tent in Cardiff, or you have to go to the Sky Dome or up to Edinburgh. And every rink is so different.
Well, we had Basingstoke back in the days, Manchester. We played in Newcastle there.
Or Whitley Bay.
Exactly. So it was some tough arenas to play. You know, you didn't even have hot water at the end to take a shower. But it's part, you know what? It's part of minor pro. That's what you remember after, you know. And then when you see guys, you know, playing in those leagues, it's about passion, because you know what? You go there, you make some money, but it's not like you're getting rich doing it. So, you know, it's good stories to tell after that, and that's what you remember. But obviously, we were fortunate in Nottingham to have that kind of building.
And when you first,
God, it was fun. It was pro. No, sorry, go ahead.
When you first come into Nottingham, you've got a guy on the team who you play with for in Rumen Nadur. You play with him in Danbury, which we'll get to in a little bit, which is a very interesting place in the hockey world. But what do you remember about Rumen? What was different about him in Nottingham compared to in Danbury? Because obviously it was a few years down the line.
Well, he was getting older for sure. When you get older, you don't get faster and stronger. But one thing that I really respect about Rumen is played in the NHL, came to Danbury and went to the Elite League, and he never changed his game. He knew his role. He accepted his role and did his role really well to perfection. And he was good in what he brought to our team. You know what I mean? And I remember he's a beast. Like, he was a strong guy. He was a scary guy when we got on the ice. So, for us, smaller player, we knew that if I would get in trouble, I knew that Rumen was right there behind me, because I wouldn't let him be in front of me, but he would be right beside me, and we would be able to battle together. I knew that I could bring him to war with me.
And we mentioned Danbury, so I had David Alexander Beauregard on here and told me some very interesting things about the Danbury Thrashers. What was your experience like in Danbury?
Well, first of all, it was awesome. To be honest, it was awesome. I was the first captain of that organization. That first year they came into the UHL. I remember my agent calling me. We were still, I think the year before I finished in Hershey, I had a contract 2-year deal. My deal was up. I was still negotiating with them. I was looking at other American Hockey League deal, NHL camp, and things like that. And I get that phone call from my agent, Peter Cooney, that he's from the area northeast of the U.S. And he goes, Bruce, I have an offer here on the table from a new team in the UHL. I was like, you know what, Peter, I'm not ready to sign that kind of deal. Still looking at American Hockey League. Yeah, but I think you should listen. So I go, okay, go ahead. So he gives me the amount that they want to sign me. I'm like, seriously? How can they sign me for that amount? I won't even make that in the American Hockey League. So the amount were pretty high. I remember, I think we had a salary cap of $300,000 a year, and we were probably at 1 million.
Oh, wow.
So all the guys were getting some good money. So I waited, but at one point the owner goes, you know what, it's take it or leave it, because it was like been 2-3 weeks. They offered me that deal, and we're like mid-July. So I decided to sign the contract and take the deal, because it was too much money to refuse. And it wasn't far away from home too. It was like a 5-hour ride. So the guy brings me to Danbury to visit the arena. I get to the arena, and it's a local arena. Like it's a nice arena for minor hockey, but it's not for pro hockey. And the guy goes, we're in mid-July. We start camp would start beginning of October. So the owner goes, oh yeah, we're going to do this, do that, this. And I'm like, oh, in my head, I'm like, this guy is crazy. Like, he's never going to be able to do that in time. But you know what? He did it in time. This guy was a passionate guy. Even if he had money, he was really generous, and he wanted to have success. He had the money to do it, and he wanted to have success. So he put a team together that was probably the toughest team I've ever played for. And we had fun. We had great lodging there. We were right near the lake. All the players had great housing. We were well taken care of.
That's the one phrase that David said. He said that the players were treated like kings in Danbury.
Oh, it was unbelievable. You were playing in the UHL, and you know what? We had our own bus, and we had everything we wanted. And you wanted to go to bat for him. You wanted to battle for him. You know what I mean? Like, when we step on the ice, like, the only thing he would ask is play hard, play tough, give a good show. And that's what we did. We were tough. We were the most penalized team in the league. And at the end, personally, when we got into the playoff, I think that's what cost us, because players like myself and other guys on the team. Are you still there?
I'm still here.
I was getting a phone call at the same time. Sorry. And I remember, like, we were so much in the penalty box, so when we got to the playoff, we had too much ice time. The good players, we had too much ice time. We didn't have the energy to be able to play two lines, or even sometime, because guys would just battle. So at one point it cost us, but it was a fun year. And the year after, they offered me to go back, but I had a good deal to go to Germany and the DL, so I decided to go there. And they got something happened with the government and the FBI, and so I didn't go. But it wasn't because of that. It's just because I got a good offer to go to Germany.
I think at some point there's going to be a Netflix documentary about them coming
Yeah.
out.
They called me. They called me to go. I was supposed to go to New York to film, and I couldn't go because I had a game. So I was really sad that I wasn't able to go. But can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting from everything you hear
Exactly.
about.
Yeah.
So how did you find your year in Germany? Your stretch out there.
I really loved it, but I got a bad injury there. I broke my hip and had a labrum tear, so I had to have surgery. I played a half a year there and stayed there for half a year getting some treatment. And you know what? When I got that injury, it took so much time because it's a tough country. It's a good country when you get hurt, but the language barrier and they didn't want to pay for my surgery because they were saying that it was a wear and tear and a lot of legal battle that at the end was resolved, but it was just a pain in the butt to figure it out and get to get treated the right way so I could play again. So great city, great organization where I play. Just the injury didn't help me to appreciate my time there.
And then going back to Nottingham now, and that first year in Nottingham, you get through to the playoff finals weekend, and there's nothing like that playoff finals weekend anywhere in hockey. I've heard the NCAA Frozen Four is a bit like the closest thing comparison-wise, but like professional-wise, there's nothing like that finals weekend, is there?
It's awesome. My first Final Four there, I remember, I think we were the second game, and I walked in the back of the arena to get to our locker room, and it was my first time seeing that Final Four weekend. And I got into it, and I looked in the stand, and you could see Sheffield, Cardiff, Coventry, Nottingham, and it wasn't happening. It was fun. I really liked it, and you had to be on your A game. You had to be ready to play. It's one game, sudden death. Really liked that. Wasn't used to that, but really liked it because if you had a bad game, it could cost you. And it was good battle. We lost in the final that year to Sheffield. But I remember in the first game, the Coventry, if I'm not mistaken, that we played, scored 2 goals. I still have an unbelievable picture of me scoring a goal and going around the net, and I see that the fans are going crazy. So no, it was a fun time. I really liked that time there, and especially that Final Four weekend. Great happening, a lot of people in town. It's good for the economy of Nottingham. It was fun. It was really fun.
So how were you already on a 2-year deal with Nottingham, or was it just an easy decision for you to come back for the second year?
I think I signed by the end of the year. Me and Corey, we went and met Neil Black in a restaurant, and he asked us if we wanted to come back, and obviously it was an easy decision. Obviously, when you have a family, you got to I said to Neil, I said, I'm going to come back for sure, but I got to ask my family and things like that, and my family really liked it there. So it was a no-brainer for me to go back.
And then that second year, that team gets loaded. You got guys like Cameron Mann, Marty Gascon, who you played with previously, and the guy who I just had on last week on this, Kevin St. Pierre, comes in to be your goalie. What do you remember? And you've been player assistant coach when you were with Fort Wayne, and Kevin was there. What do you remember about Kevin?
That he has 9 fingers. He has. Did you know that?
Yeah. Him and you know how David Beauregard's got one eye.
Yeah. One eye. It happened Major Junior here.
Yeah, they're like best friends, and their bar joke is that if they ever went to war and were in the army, St. Pierre would look down the sight and Beauregard would pull the trigger. For
sure, it's a good one. No, I remember that he had 9 finger. I was telling him, you're the best 9 finger goalie I had ever seen in the world. You're probably the best 9 goalie finger in the world. So, but that year was also a great year. But there was some great team in the league. And I feel that every time that we sign a player, Sheffield would go and sign a player too. Like those teams, and even Belfast, and in Cardiff. So there was some great battles, and hockey is played on the ice. At the end, did we have too many of these guys? too many of those quality players.
Mm.
Everybody wanted to get their power play. Everybody wanted to be on the PK. Is it everybody that was willing to accept their role? But it was a fun year, and to be honest, those 4 top team, they were good. So on any given night, anybody could beat anybody.
And
But
they're
I
really
thought
good.
that year, I thought we lost some game that we should have. We lost some game against Edinburgh early in the season, or that, what should have never lost. And if we would have won those easy game, we probably would have clinched first place.
And then I think the really good thing about that year was I think you went 8-1 against Sheffield as well, which must have been pretty sweet.
Yeah, I remember that year. It's true. And that's the thing. And you go lose a couple games against Newcastle and Edinburgh, when you win those games, okay, but you lose some of the games. So at the end, it doesn't add up, and that's the thing. What happened is that we lost too many games to some bottom team that cost us the championship that year.
And games against Newcastle were always quite interesting because that's where Michelle Robinson went after playing for Nottingham. And after watching one of the games on the netminder, and after watching one of the games on a DVD, apparently he sent a text to the team before he came to a game to Nottingham and said they were going to win. And I think your first shift, you go barreling into him.
Yeah, and he's a good friend. He was a good friend of me. When he played for us, he was good. He was good. I really liked him. It just didn't work out for that second year. We decided to sign Kevin St. Pierre. But I remember him. I think he had a little bit of grudge against us and not signing him. And he sent a text to some of the guys. I remember that. And we just wanted to make sure we get in his head early in the game. So we got into his blue paint, got into his crease, and got a couple bump into him to show him that it's not going to be an easy night against us. And that's the thing. I never wanted. That was the thing. When you played us, it had to be hard. Before you started the game, we wanted the other team to look at the roster and say, "Oh my gosh, Nadur, Richardson, Bergin. Oh my God, it's going to be a tough night." We wanted to be in their head right early in the game and have an edge in that department.
And you mentioned Kevin Bergin just there. He told a story about you when he was on here. What's your story on Kevin Bergin?
I'll tell you a good story. He might kill me, but I'm his boss right now. So I'm the head coach. He's the assistant coach. But it's a funny story. We talk about it. There's so many stories because we really got a good friendship. Me and Kevin, when we played together, we always battle about system and hockey, NHL. We always talked about hockey. So I knew it, that if one day I would become a head coach, major, junior in the NHL, that Kevin would come with me because his passion for the game, his knowledge for the game was outstanding. So it's after the first year. It's award night, Nottingham award night. So I get a couple trophies. Is it the first year or second year? Well, doesn't matter. But after the award night one year, so he won, I think, the player of the year that year. So we go out, have a drink, a couple guys, but that's on the Tuesday morning. The award night was on the Monday. Okay, so and we start the playoff on the Saturday. So that week is a big week of practice. We're getting ready for that first round, that home and away game. And I think was it against Newcastle?
I think it was somewhere. I think it's Newcastle, Edinburgh, someone like that.
Yeah. So Monday night, award night, he gets the player of the year. He's all happy. He goes out, couple drinks. Next morning, I'm in the office with Kevin, and where the room was before. Corey's office is right beside the bathroom, and the only thing I could hear, me and Corey were talking, preparing the practice, preparing the week to get ready for the weekend, and the only thing I could hear is I'm like, what the heck is going on? So a guy puking. So I get out, I knock on the door, no answer. I could go back in the office. So I go see Scott Poundle, that was our therapist. I go, somebody's sick. So knock on the door, Bergie opens the door, and I'm like, I gave him shit so much. I said, I cannot believe that you're passed out, you're drunk, and you went out till 3 o'clock in the morning last night, and we got the playoff coming. I said, get your freaking shit and go home. So he left because he felt so bad because the night before he got couple drink too much, and on the Tuesday morning, and we laugh about it now because obviously it was on the Tuesday, but it was something that for me was important. And he felt bad about it, but you should have seen him play during the weekend. He felt guilty. He played unbelievable, and he was good for us that playoff round.
Oh, I love that.
It was a good one, and he was puking his guts out, and I remember giving him shit, and the guys were coming out of the dressing room and passing by, and he goes, okay, we're Tuesday, relax, Bruce, we don't play till Saturday. But I wasn't happy because, you know what, for me it was business this week. It was like, you know what, we're getting to work. We got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday to get ready for this weekend playoff, and I don't want to lose that opportunity. And Kevin puking and still being drunk, I wasn't happy about that one, but it's a good laugh.
These are the stories you remember down the line, aren't they, that you can then enjoy?
You know what? Some great stories. I remember another story coming from Nottingham, and we're going to I remember where it was. We were going to I think we were going to Belfast, or no, sorry, I was in Glasgow, and we're coming down to play, and we had a rookie. We put him in the trunk down because we told he didn't have his passport. We told him that we were going to cross Scotland and England, and at the border, when the custom would ask us if we had our passport and blah, blah, blah. So I remember getting in the bus, and I turned around, and it was a joke. I go, hey, everybody have your passport? And everybody's like, yeah, we do have your passport. And everybody brought the passport. But that one guy said, I didn't bring it. Oh, my gosh. I'm like, you didn't bring your passport? We're going to England. At the custom, what are they going to say? And the guy goes, well, I didn't know. So I said, we're going to find a way, we're going to find a way. So when we get to, I said to the bus driver, I said, when we get to England, near England, tell me. We're going to put the guy with the hockey bag underneath the bus. We're going to hide him there. So finally we stopped by a rest area. We put him underneath for about a couple kilometers. So we stopped the bus like at the border. I don't even know if we were at the border. The guy's underneath, so he doesn't know. And we have one guy coming and knocking on the door, and everybody's in there. Is there somebody hiding in there? And suddenly we open the gate, and he's under the bus on the bag, laying down, and we just told him, we were laughing at him, and he was like so scared because he thought that the custom guy was that found him there. So there's no custom between Scotland and England, but the guy had no clue he was a Canadian kid. So it was some funny stories that we had like that. That's the thing about hockey as a player that you remember too. You remember those wins, those losses, I don't know how you say that in English, but the
camaraderie
with the players. That's what I miss about, we had so good time in playing and being together in the bus, at the hotel, in the dressing room, going out together. It was fun.
And then you mentioned the dressing room things. How important are the British guys in that dressing room? Because they're the core. They're the guys there year on year. Guys like David Clark, Danny Myers, Matthew Myers, huge. Mark Levers, even Goody.
Oh, it was huge. I was so fortunate and lucky to landed in Nottingham my first year and have a guy like David Clark, Matthew Myers, Danny Myers, and like you said, Goody. These guys were great to me. I remember Clarky taking me with him that first day, bringing me out to the corner house, having a drink. And we knew it too, that we were going to play together, me, him, and Kevin Bergin. So we built the chemistry there, and he was so good to me. Goody was so good. It was just unbelievable. These guys are awesome. They're good players. And they're not, I think people, they don't evaluate them to their potential. There's some good hockey players. I'm pretty sure a guy like Clarky, even I know Matthew Myers tried to go to the East Coast, didn't work out, but these guys were great to our team. And that's why these teams always had a lot of success, because they have those British players that make a difference in the game.
And then that year as well, the second year in Nottingham must have been really special to you, because that's when you went on that Challenge Cup run. And if I read your page correctly, that would have been your first professional championship.
Which one? Sorry, it cut up. What were you saying?
The Challenge Cup in 2009-10. Was that your first professional championship?
You know what? You play so many years to win. I play to win. I coach to win. People that say that winning is not important, they've never won. So you know what I mean? There's a scoreboard. I don't care. It's tennis, ping pong. We play to win. And you play so much and you give your heart off to have success and to win. And I wasn't able to win. And when we won that, for me, it was kind of like the Stanley Cup, because it was the feeling. It's the feeling that you work so hard all year with the same guys. You battle, you get into fight, you get injured, you play injured, and you just raise that trophy. There's no money involved. It's just raising the trophy with the fans, and it was fun. It was unbelievable. I still look at pictures with my sons when we were on the plaza and people were screaming downstairs. What a great feeling it was. And I was able, after that, when I came back, to win here when I coach a prep school here, and the feeling as a coach too is also fun. So everything that I do is about winning, and that Challenge Cup was fun. I have a picture downstairs of me with the Challenge Cup and Kevin St. Pierre. So it was fun.
Then when you hear the stories behind that as well, like Kevin was playing with a torn groin, and he said he could barely move in that second leg at home. Everybody,
and we, you know what? We were playing Cardiff, and it was funny to lose the game but win the Challenge Cup. But when you go far in the playoff, you look at NHL or even wherever, and you're battling for a trophy. You get more games, and at the end, there's a lot of guys that are playing with some injuries, and you know, it just shows that the character and how the guys, for them, it's important to win. And not surprised that Kevin was hurt back then, because he's the type. That's why he's coaching with me, because we're the same way, warriors, and we believe that he's passionate. We believe that passion is probably the most important thing if you want to have success. And Kevin was that type of player and that type of person.
And so it was a great game as well, that second leg. They won by 1 goal, but you really did the business in the first leg in Cardiff, which is not an easy rink for anyone to go to.
I agree. No, it was it's a tough, small rink. They had Brad Bott. They had a couple guys that they were a good team, and it's tough to play there. You know, you're playing on that smaller ice, and you got less time and space. You got to make your plays quicker, and it was two teams that battle hard. So it was tough. We got out of there and won the game and came back home and did a good job in the first. And after that, they came back. They didn't quit, but we were able to win the game and win that Challenge Cup.
That's when Marty Gascon scored that incredible goal where I think he was flat out on the ice and he somehow managed to sweep it. It's almost like that Ovechkin goal.
Exactly. It's the same. And I remember that goal was huge. And I remember in the middle of the year, we were talking to Marty. Things weren't going the way he wanted things to go. And we were looking at maybe making a change there. But we stuck with him, and he gave us some great hockey after Christmas. I thought it gave him a boost, and he was really important for us when we won the Challenge Cup.
And he was playing with you and Kevin Bergin as well, so he got plenty of space and freedom out there after he got put with you two.
French connection together, and that's what we told Corey. I was used to playing with Kevin and Clarkie, and we said, you know what, put him with me and Kevin. We're gonna get him going. Marty is more of a skilled player, and Kevin were more of a grind and hard player, and I thought we had good chemistry together, and we chat in French on the ice, so nobody else would know what we're talking about.
And then that season came to a close. It was the playoff game against Belfast, I think, wasn't it? The semi-final at that weekend that 1-1 got decided in a shootout, which is not a way anyone wants a final to be decided.
No, it's the rules, and I don't like it. You know, during the course of the year, it's okay, it's fun, but I think in the playoff, it should finish with the 5-on-5 goal. It was heartbreaker. It was a heartbreaker because I thought that that year, you know, we won the Challenge Cup. It would have been fun to win that playoff and at least get 2 out of 3, but we weren't able to make it. But it was still a fun year, and I think it was a good year. At least we won a Challenge Cup.
And then the next year, you get a really unique opportunity to be the head coach of a brand new team.
Oh.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I was sitting here and I got a phone call in May, and Adam Calder was supposed to be the coach, and it didn't work out. And I was supposed to go back to Nottingham and for a third year as a player assistant coach. And Neil Black called me and goes, "Would you want to be the player coach and start that new franchise?" I'm like, you know what? Talk to the wife and let's do it. You know, and oh my gosh, you get to a new team. I've never been to Glasgow. I'm here in Montreal. I got to sign some players. So I'm selling the team. I'm selling, trying to tell the guys to come and play for me in Glasgow. And they're asking me, how's Glasgow? And I'm kind of lying to them because I don't have a clue about Glasgow. And I'm telling it's a great place, great arena. And I was working with Kirsty Longmuir. She was the kind of like the business operation. We had to buy laces. We had to buy hockey gear. We had to start from scratch. Everything that I did, I had to start from scratch by signing players, the visa, the apartments in 2 months, basically. May, it's June, July, 3 months. And it was tough because I was recruiting something I didn't even know what I was getting myself into. And I remember the first game we played, I think there were 600 people in the stands. And I was like, oh my gosh, what did I get myself into? And all year we grew our fan base. I think we finished 4th in the league. We did really well for a first-year team. And I look at the organization right now, how it's going, and it's pretty amazing to see that they're having that much success right now. I'm happy to see that I started something and it's going and it keeping on having success.
And that like you said, that was a very good. It was some of the players on that Glasgow Clan team were incredible. But you perhaps didn't have the depth because it was obviously as a first-year team. That was the one thing you were missing. Because you've got guys like Landry, Wedderburn, Brendan Cook. You've got some real X factors out there.
Well, it's just because these guys are guys that I knew personally. Landry is a guy from Montreal, so I knew him. He was a school guy, so he wanted to go to university, and we had a deal with the university there, so I was able to bring him on board. After that, Brendan Cook told him, "You're going to be my captain." I gave him probably he was my highest paid guy on the team, and I played with him in Nottingham, and I knew how he was a pro, the way he prepared himself, the way he comes to the rink. He was a real pro. And Wedderburn is a guy that I played with in Hershey too. So we had so I told him, I said, just believe in me. I won't let you guys down. Come, and we're going to have fun. And I think they don't regret it. They had success. It was a fun year.
And then you come back down to Nottingham. Your first game back in Nottingham, you win when you bring Glasgow down. What do you remember about that game back? The first game back in the Motorpoint Arena with your new clan team.
That I was shit. Personally, I didn't have a good game. It didn't feel right, to be honest. You know, you played 2 years, you had success. It was fun to play there, and you come and sitting on the other bench, it was kind of like I'm not on the right bench. You know what I mean? So put a lot of energy and trying to prepare the team that game and making sure we were ready video-wise, system-wise, and everything that I forgot to prepare myself. And didn't really have a good game, but some of the guys came into play, and the guys bought in. I think I gave him a little bonuses that game too, put a little bonus on the table, just maybe a day off more or something, a case of beer more or something, but it worked out, and we came there and won the game.
It must have been a fun chat with Corey afterwards.
Yeah, he wasn't happy. He wasn't happy to his team, but he gave me a tap on the back. Obviously, it's part of the game. But after that, they beat us in the playoffs. So.
And there's also, you were part of that weird moment. I've never seen it happen before or since, when you were the one who got put through the glass by Rob Bellamy, weren't you?
Yeah. I got just in the corner against Nottingham. I just got really hit, and I think my stick hit the glass at that one spot, and it cracked the window. So I remember that I had when I took my equipment off at the end of the game, I was full of glass in my pants and my underwear. Everywhere, and I was cut at some of the places, but nothing serious.
That's good, because when you see the footage, it's all like, it's kind of, because it's footage from like 2011. It's all like grainy. You can't really see what happened in the corner.
It goes quick too. If you look at the footage, I saw it. It's quick, so you don't see it. But it could have been dangerous, but nothing seriously happened. It just show you how hard I am. How hard I am.
Well, I, having watched you play, everyone knows that you're very intense, and that you would have just shrugged that off like nothing bothered you.
Yeah, well, it's true. That's the type, and I'm the same way as a coach.
And those fans in Glasgow, in Braehead, they are, like you said, there weren't many at the start, but by the time that year came to an end, they're a very loyal, very vocal, very loud fan base. There must have been great fun to play in front of them as the season progressed.
Yes, it was really fun, and especially when we were in Glasgow. I remember we had that escape building right in front where you could go, and there was a couple bars. So after the game, we went there, and I told the player that it's important that we mingle with the fans, because that one fan that you're going to mingle with, he's going to bring a friend, and at the end, they're going to come to the ring, and it's going to be kind of like an happening and a party. And that's what happened. We were really close to the fans. I remember, going to that, I don't remember what's that bar called, Snow Bar. It was Snow Bar. We used to go there. The fans would be there after the game, win or lose, and a couple drinks with the fans. And by the end of the year, they had to refuse people to come in the bar because there was too many people. And they were loud. They were fun to go play. And I remember they would chant Richardson, Purple Army, and clap their hand. And it was a fun time. And by the end of the year, I think we had 2,500 people in the stands, and they gave us some energy, and it was really fun. And what a great building too. It was a nice building right in the middle of the mall. I would spend my day there, as a coach, prepare practice, do video and things like that. When I needed to go get a lunch, just need to go in the mall and get a lunch and come back in the office.
Then the next year you retired and went to coaching back in North America. Was that just a time to go home sort of thing?
It wasn't just the time to go home. I was going to go back to Glasgow until I got that offer to coach that prep team. And it's a 15, 16 years old league. And it's a really, it's a job. It's a hard job to get. It's a full-time job. And it's the first step to become a head coach at the higher level. So it was an opportunity that I couldn't pass by. Obviously, it was okay to coach and play in Glasgow and in the UK, but my objective was I'm trying to get to the NHL as a coach. And it wasn't in the UK that I was going to be able to do that. I needed to come back to North America and start it from the bottom, and that's what I did. And that's why I took the job. Felt bad, but I think it was the right decision at that time too. Also for the kids, where they were 11-year-old, school was tough because we start them in Europe in April, come back here. So it was just getting tougher too. And my oldest son and my youngest sons were good hockey player, and also to come back here where hockey is our main sport. It was all that package that made the decision to come back.
And then you work your way through that system. Then you get the head coaching job at Victoriaville in the QMJHL. And for a French Canadian national like yourself, the QMJHL is such a revered league, isn't it? It is a big deal to be involved with that league, to play in it, to coach in it, to do anything in the Q.
The CHL is probably the number one league for junior in the world. It's where all the players, mainly I would say a lot of percentage of the players, they get drafted to the NHL. It's where basically you start before you get to the pro level. So it's a well-respected league. And when I got that opportunity to go to Victoriaville, we moved to Victoriaville. Didn't work out the way I wanted. My wife got sick, so we came back home. She got some treatment, and now she's doing really well. So I went back to the team that I was, that prep team, because it's not far from where I live. And a couple years after, I got a job where here in not far. I didn't have to move, and it's one of the team that it's in the Montreal region, the Blainville-Boisbriand Armada, and took the place of Joël Bouchard, who went for the Rocket, the minor league affiliation of the Montreal Canadiens. And now I've been there for the last 2 years. And I brought Kevin with me this year.
So it's gonna be a fun year next year then, when it gets back
I
underway.
hope exactly. I hope it gets on their way because we can't wait to start working together.
When you're working for a QMJHL team, how does it work with the recruitment play? Do you have to get in touch with players? Do you have to go and like visit players, sort of thing, or is it a case of a general manager takes care of that sort of thing?
Well, we have a general manager. We have a head scout. We have about 8 or 9 scouts that goes around the province and look at the midget AAA. It's the team that I coached before, and they find players. And last week was our draft. Just like the NHL, we do a draft where we draft the players and they come to camp. So during the course of the year, yes, I might go and watch a couple games, but we have, just like the NHL, we have some scouts doing the job and finding those players for us, because during the course of the year, we don't really have time because we play 68 games, we travel, we practice, so don't really have time to go watch those games to recruit. So everybody has their role, everybody does it right, and that's how we have success.
And one of your scouts is, of course, a former Sheffield Steeler in QMJHL.
Yeah, he is one of our, exactly, it's true. He's our American scout. We talked about it a couple times. He's our American scout, played in Sheffield. There's another guy too, not in the Q, but in the CHL, David Matsos.
Okay, he was the head coach, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's a coach in Sheffield when I was there, and now he coaches, not remember which team he coaches in the OHL, but he's also a major junior here in Canada in the CHL in the Ontario Hockey League. And there was also, what's his name? He was the Newcastle coach, big guy.
Ooh.
Wilson.
Rob Wilson.
Rob Wilson. I think he was in the OHL. I don't know if he went back to Europe, but he was in the OHL too. So Drew Bannister coached in the OHL too. When he took my job in Glasgow, came back here, coaching the OHL. So a couple guys started their career. When you look at it, Mike Babcock, a couple guys started their career in the elite league and suddenly became coach.
Yeah, it's a pathway to success.
Exactly.
And you've got a unique dynamic at the Armada because you're coaching your son there as well.
Yeah, he got drafted the year before I got there. So he got drafted by that team and played there. And since then, I've been coaching him. I'm fortunate. It's fun. Obviously, when I'm at the rink, I'm the coach. And he lives in a billet. He doesn't live home. He lives in a billet near the team and near school. So we're really trying to separate the father and coach. He wants to be a hockey player. He wants to follow the footpath. I'm fortunate to have that he was drafted before I came in. So it was fun. It's fun.
And I've got no doubt that you treat him no differently to any other player on the team.
I can't. You can't. You know what? It's not minor hockey. It's a business. I'm there to win games. I want to get to the next level. I want players that are going to help me to achieve that goal to win some hockey game. And if it's him, it's him. If it's not him, it'll be somebody else. And at the end, I'm not the only one making the decision. We have we have a general manager. We have a owner. And you know what? At the end, I want the best player possible on my team. And he's drafted there and he belongs there. So that's the way it happens.
And then I can't thank you enough for giving up you so much of your time for this. This has been awesome, and especially with how we're putting all these old games on YouTube. And people who maybe started watching 3 or 4 years ago are now seeing Bruce Richardson and Kevin Bergins and introducing those players to a new generation of Panthers fans. So these stories and things are really cool for that. Yeah,
well, it was great when you called me. I think it's fun, even for me, to bring back those memories. And it's a big part of my life. You know what I mean? My kids went to school there. We lived in the UK for 3 years, and I'm proud to say that I did that throughout my career. I'm proud to say that I played in the US, played in the UK, also played in Glasgow. These are all things that I'm happy to say, and Nottingham, it's where it started for me. I still have some friends there. I still talk to people there. I made some friends that I'm going to keep and cherish for the rest of my life. So these fans were good to me, and I think it was important for me to be able to chat with you today. to give back to them.
And say, if we should finish this on one of your another favourite story of yours from Nottingham, if you've got one off the top of your head.
One on top of my head. Oh, which one I could say? Is it the one that when we used to go to bar, we used to call Corey Nielsen Smoke Bomber?
I've not heard that one before, so that'd be a new one.
Corey would be in the bar with us having a drink, and he would tell us he'd go to the bathroom, and an hour later he's sleeping, and we have no clue where he is. But we used to make fun of him because he used to smoke bomb, kind of like leave, but disappear. But a good story. I got two. Are you ready for two?
I'm ready.
The first day that my wife got home, and it's not home, but got to UK. So she gets in the morning on a Friday morning. We played that Friday night. So we play the game, we win. After the game, I was kind of stupid a bit, to be honest. But I told the wife, I said, you know what, guys are going for a beer. We don't play till next Friday. I'm just going to go with the guy. Can you go home? She's like, yeah, fine, I'll go home. She's with the two kids. So I go for a beer, come back. It's about 12:30, 1 o'clock. Wife is not there. So I'm like, shit, where she is. So I'm panicking. 3 o'clock in the morning, she comes back. Where are you? She said, I got lost. It was her first time driving a car on the other side. First time coming from the arena to home. She came home with a police officer because she couldn't find she didn't remember where she lived. She didn't know her address. She didn't have a cell. But at the end, it's a little bit my fault. It was her first day in the UK. I should have said, you know what, I'll bring you home, change, and go with the guys. But I told him, you're okay, you know how to get home. Finally, I guess she didn't know how to get home. She got lost 3 o'clock. I was freaking out. She came home at 3 in the morning. I could see her coming with the cops, and she stopped the cop, and she asked the cop, she goes, I don't know where I live. So maybe the cop thought she was on drugs, but she wasn't. She just, all the house in Nottingham were brown. So she had no clue. She goes, I know I live near this. And the other thing too is that the other story, if you find something, I'll let you let me know. But Kevin St. Pierre came in and obviously didn't have money because it was his first week in the UK. So I gave him £500, to start up till he gets his first pay. So when he got his first pay, he gave me back my £500. So I gave it to my wife. I said, put it in your wallet. So she put it sitting in the wallet. We go put some gas in the car. She puts the wallet on the tank, on the top of the gas tank there, on the top and we leave. And still we haven't found that wallet. So if you find a wallet that was lost in 2010, it's my wife's wallet with £500. When you think about it, £500, it's $1,000 Canadian back then. So I wasn't happy about my wife forgetting that £500 that Kevin St. Pierre refund us that year. But just some funny story. We laugh about it now. It's okay. But it's just some good stories.
Oh, well, that's kind of like evens it up from you leaving her to get home on her own. She left it on there. Maybe that was her revenge.
You're right. It wasn't my how can I say that, my smartest move to leave her go home when she came in the morning. So, but I've learned from it.
Oh well, that's Bruce. Thank you so much for giving up your time for this. This has been brilliant.
No problem. I appreciate any time and like to say hi to the fans. Still think about you guys, miss you guys. Never know in the hockey world what's going to happen, but keep cheering the UK hockey. It's getting better, and proud to have been part of it.